here today. I'm Kerrick, the AIC at Kerrick, and I've got two teachers here with me if they will introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Danielle Warren. I'm the fourth grade teacher at Kerrick.
And I'm Olivia Penland. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Kerrick.
So, Elaine, I'm going to be sharing my screen.
Okay. If you need help with turning the captions on, or I know you ladies have been on, I've listened to you while I've gotten to join in too. So if you need help, I know you guys have done this a couple times.
Okay, so sorry about that. So we're here to tell you about our journey at Kerrick, creating choice boards using compelling questions. And we really thought in order to begin this discussion, we really need to take our journey all the way back to last summer. That's really where I feel like the heart of our work began. So what we did this past year is really put our heart and soul into focusing on developing and strengthening our PLCs, our grade level PLCs especially. So when we started that work, we went all the way back to what is our mission, what's our vision, and where do we really want to go as a team? So as you see in this photograph, we even got the t-shirt, we're on a mission, because we really were on a mission this year. And this is our leadership team, and we worked very hard along with our staff and community members to revamp our mission and vision into something that would drive all of the decisions we made this year. And with that being said, this team that you see pictured here became the strong driving force behind everything that we do. And our Kerrick teachers have gone through a lot of change this year. They have learned an enormous amount, all the way from guided reading with Jan Richardson, like most people, to piloting a math program with illustrative math this year in elementary. So they have tackled a lot, and just mentioning those two things doesn't really speak to the volume of new things they've tried this year. So I really wanted to just hit on this because ILT has really been a strength in helping move our teams. And I wonder if Danielle or Olivia would like to add from their point of view working with ILT.
I would love to add. So I will say that we honestly could not have done this without Carrie Gray driving this for us this year. She started ILT over the summer. We all just kind of became one big family this year, starting at Carrie's house over the summer, talking about our vision, our mission, these t-shirts, just down to having fun together. ILT really formed a strong bond, and our team leads seriously, truly lean on one another, and we positively influence each other. If one of us is on board, we are all in. We text each other, ask to see what each other's team is working on, and then we usually carry that influence back to our team. And our teams really buy in because ILT is so strong and dedicated. We are literally like a big group of friends. We enjoy our time together. There are a lot of group texts that happen, just trying to feed off of ideas from one another and ways to get our teams going. And it has really kind of lit a fire under our staff this year. So I would say we are truly on a mission together this year.
And I would agree with Danielle. I think that because ILT is so strong, it helps fuel the fire elsewhere throughout the teams. And, everybody just has the same end goal in mind. Everybody just wants to do what's best for the kids.
Thank you, guys. These two ladies are obviously on our leadership team, so it's nice to hear from their perspective as well. And taking all of that information, ILT actually met before spring break. So if you go back and remember, we weren't even working back then, but our ILT thought it was critical that we met as soon as we could to get the plan in motion for NTI. And during our ILT meeting, we discussed having choice and voice and some flexibility for our parents seemed to be the most important thing to be able to offer during this time. So we loved what the district was doing with choice boards, and our parents were giving us really good feedback. So we decided every grade level was going to create a choice board each week, along with daily teacher lessons. And we tried to get as much math and reading and writing in as we could. So you can see laid out here kind of what our plan looked like. And teachers were going to teach lessons to connect to what they were putting on the choice boards. And then we have a staff slide deck where all of our staff are doing read alouds, recording read alouds, and adding comprehension questions. So teachers are pulling from every staff member in the building to showcase a read aloud every day throughout the week. So we just wanted to make sure our kids had access to literature. And so that was one way we were trying to make that happen. So where did we begin? So with our choice board creation, we really were doing kind of what we saw the district doing, and that we were going to create these choice boards. There weren't really a connection or a theme that brought all of the activities together, but we were going to try to hit all of the standards, including all of our special areas on this choice board. And so all of the choices were going to be standards aligned, but as I said, there was not really any interdisciplinary connections. So that was kind of where we started. And then the first week we were doing NTI. I happened upon Ryan New and Suzanne Kramer's creating choice boards using compelling questions PD. They offered on the digital channel, actually. So once I saw that, I just kind of had this aha moment that maybe, just maybe, if I could get all of our teams to go that route, our learning could be much more focused, and it would help frame the learning for the students and make it more meaningful if they were asking questions and researching and doing fun activities that deepened their content knowledge, increased their level of rigor, kept everything driven towards that compelling question. And we know that these compelling question boards would help allow for interdisciplinary tasks, so they could interweave these content areas together. Danielle's going to tell you a couple more reasons why we think compelling question boards were important.
Okay, I can go first.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I just didn't want Danielle to be confused. So we also decided that it provides student choice and voice in the work. Our choice boards have about 10 activities on them that students can choose from. So they're choosing 5 of the 10. So they're not only choosing what they're doing, but they're also choosing how they submit their work. So we're giving them options. If they want to submit their work via a drawing or a video, sometimes they're doing writing. They are choosing, how they're going to submit, but they're also guiding their own learning and answering their own supporting questions that get them to the compelling question. So because of that, it also sparks student curiosity and increases engagement because they are doing their learning, they're guiding themselves, and they are taking their learning wherever they want to go.
It also creates a purpose for learning. Our kiddos have clear goals, and we have clear goals as a team. The students know what they are working toward, and all activities tie into this. There are truly no filler activities on these choice boards when we're using the compelling questions. It opens the possibility for students to have multiple answers to questions. Our activities might be research-based or open-ended, allowing the students to choose their own avenue. I would say that's especially true when we get to our final task on our compelling questions. The students can take lots of different avenues. It's really cool to see all the different ways it comes together for them. So it's truly a PBL experience for them. It helps students gain awareness of other perspectives. Our students discuss the final projects or activities with one another and hear and see one another's work and point of view. We also include that through some of our provided activities in the research that we're having them take into.
Thank you so much. So as you can see, we had lots of reasons to turn towards building these choice boards around compelling questions. And also, if you listen to Ryan New's session, which I know him and Suzanne are having another session today and tomorrow at 12:30, so you may want to catch that. There's a lot of research backing this compelling question inquiry-based model. So we really wanted to practice including more content into our lessons, and this provided us the time and honestly the grace to do that, because we knew we were going to have to fumble through this process, and we wanted to use this time to help ourselves learn how to plan better. So where we are in the process right now, I'll just quickly say that all of our grade levels are now creating these choice boards around compelling questions. I left it open to team leaders and to teams, And for very first week, teachers planned NTI. I already had 3 teams willing to jump on it the first week. Let's jump in, figure out how to do this. By the second week, I was able to show the other 3 teams what they had come up with, and then everybody was on board. So by week 2, every single grade level team was planning in this way, including our special area teachers, which has been such a critical, important component of the work we're doing. We are aligning every content as best we can to this work. So special area teachers are even using supporting questions to create their task as well. Most of our teams are actually using compelling questions for a 2-week period. So I think Danielle has a sample she'll show you in a bit. And so the summative assignment that we are creating is going on to the end of that second week compelling question choice board. So you'll see that. And then also, just to reiterate, our teams are amazing. Our teachers do not stop until this work is done. We are still meeting with PLCs every single week. And, generally in school, our PLCs might be 50 minutes, but our teachers are some of the hardest working people I know. I have been in PLCs over 2 hours with some of them because they don't want to give up until they think they've exhausted every idea to make this right. So kudos to our teachers who are really putting in massive amounts of time and effort to make this happen. And so now all of our choice boards are following these questions. We are working towards creating compelling questions and supporting questions. And the tricky part, honestly, is aligning standards to those tasks. That has been hard, but we are working to make sure that's happening as well. So I want to turn this over to Olivia and Danielle so you can hear from their point of view what it is like to plan like this with their team. And they're going to kind of speak to the process of where they started that first week and where they are now in this process. So Olivia, you want to go first?
Yes. So the first week we were creating the choice boards. I think in our mind, we kind of misunderstood. So in our mind, the choice board was more of like a theme. So we were pulling standards that we were working on, but the standards and the activities didn't necessarily help the students answer the compelling questions. So, for example, at the top on the right, it says create a story problem. So we asked students to create. Oh, it left. Can you still see it? Can you guys still see I can't see the.
Yep.
You're Click on my name, it'll pop up.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. So the students were asked to create 2 addition and subtraction story problems about spring. So we were thinking weather, spring, that goes, like, we'll do that. But as we started to learn more and things like that, we, decided, okay, these activities are not helping the students to answer these compelling questions. So we moved from that to planning more intentionally. We identify a compelling question first, and then we decide what supporting questions are going to help them get to that compelling question. And then we look at the standards that we're using and then create activities to match those standards. It's really easy to get caught up in like creating these fun assignments and, you can get going really fast and then realize like, hey, this doesn't match what we were supposed to be doing at this time. So that has been a challenge, like Carrie said, is, making sure that your standards are aligning. But we're working with special area teachers, like Carrie said, and they're coming up with questions and activities that match the supporting questions and that are leading the students to the compelling question. So we've come a long way since the beginning. And, we've done much better, and the kids are enjoying it. The engagement is a lot higher. I'll say that I have some kids that complete their 5 assignments and then they are like, Miss Penland, I really want to do this one. And next thing I know, when they turn it in, they have all 10 assignments finished. So it's really exciting to see that. And, that they're doing this much learning and we're able to connect all the different standards and things like that together. So we've really come a long way, and it's been for the better. We're really excited about that.
Thank you for sharing, Olivia. And here's Danielle with fourth grade.
Okay, so fourth grade's journey was very similar to kindergarten's. At first, we came up with our compelling question. It's surrounded with our science standard with structures and functions, and it was how do the structures of living things impact the way they live. We didn't really have supporting questions yet. We weren't really sure exactly how to get going there, so we literally pulled anything we could that could tie into our compelling question. And we were just pulling resources from everywhere, like, oh, this fits for science, this fits for math. And it wasn't terrible. It was just more theme-based for our kiddos with no clear direction. We had no clear final project for them. We did eventually do a final project, but we didn't really, we weren't as intentional with making sure that all of our activities tied into that. The students liked the work. Even theme-based, but we knew that we could be more intentional in guiding them and making sure our activities got there. So what we have really changed too is that now in fourth grade, we start when we plan by doing a compelling question just the same way. So this one is, how does a pandemic affect my community? When we start planning, the first thing we do as a team is we start with the compelling questions, start brainstorming all of our potential supporting questions. What are all the different topics that we want to dive into? What do we want our students to be learning? And then we look at our standards that we are currently working on, and we align those with those supporting questions. So making sure that those standards will fit into those supporting questions, and maybe what do we need to change in those supporting questions to make sure that we can get there. We then create our final task so that we know our end goal for our kiddos, make sure that lines up with our supporting questions and our standards. And then we go through and add all of these individual tasks. So what you see here is the week one of this choice board. Each week, the students get a new choice board. The second week, as Kerry said, will be their final project. So these are just a few of these supporting questions that we had in week one to get them started with, how does a pandemic affect my community? All of our activities are super intentional with a clear purpose. There are no fillers on this choice board. The students literally need to understand all of this to be able to get to the end goal. The students have a choice in how they complete each activity. So each activity hits every level of learners. We have students creating videos. We have students creating drawings, diagrams. We have students showing their math work using manipulative websites. It's limitless what the students are doing right now, and they are really diving in and going for it. So whenever we do our supporting questions and we get to our final project, this choice board right here does not show you our final project in fourth grade, but I will tell you that all these supporting questions, how is the pandemic impacting my life directly? How can we protect ourselves? What is a pandemic? All of those supporting questions are leading our students to do the time capsule with the Fraser History Museum in fourth grade. They're going to be creating a video, a piece of art, a digital journal using Jamboard, anything showing how the pandemic affects their community. And they're going to be really tying in all of the different things that they have learned as they have taken on all of these supporting question activities. So we are extremely excited to see what they come up with that. And they're already starting to brainstorm ideas and talk about it. So this might seem very intense, and it looks intense, just sitting here looking at it, thinking where we started and where we are now. But honestly, from a teacher perspective, it has made planning so much easier. It has been challenging at times to tie those standards in, especially math. We all know that math can be very challenging to tie into PBLs. But knowing our clear goal has really helped us find ways to sit together and figure out how to tie it in. And even though math can be very challenging sometimes to tie in, we have made it work. It has tied in. We have not sat here since we started the compelling questions without being able to tie it in. Our students are highly engaged, as Olivia said. I cannot speak to that enough. I have so many kids who are sitting here telling me in office hours, I can't pick just 5. I really want to do this. So they really want to continue to work on other choice boards or choice board opportunities. Everyone is literally all in with this on my team. When we come to plan together, we all sit with this goal. We know, I think it has really helped us to identify our compelling question, our supporting question, so that we have that driving force saying, hey, no, let's stick back to this plan. So that is my biggest advice and the biggest, I think, win for us as a team in fourth grade especially, and I think across all grade levels at Kerrick right now, is having that driving force. Once you've made your plan, you have something to stick to that can help you start to tie everything in.
Thank you so much. And Danielle is right. This does look overwhelming at first, but we come at it with a team. So we've got 4 special area teachers working on this, 3 classroom teachers working on this, and I am also there to support, and often other teachers jump in. Our special education teachers are jumping in, admin may jump in. So there are a lot of people having discussions around this, and this is definitely one of the biggest reasons why I think we're all growing so well together, because we're all doing the work together. So thinking about what our next steps are at Kerrick and where we are in the process, we really want to continue to strengthen our planning design. So thinking about that backwards planning design, where that compelling question is really the end task. This is what we want our kids to be able to understand and be able to create an argument and defend with reasoning and evidence their answer. And so what are those supporting questions that will drive them there? So we're really continuing to work on that. It's not easy. We won't lie. It's been a challenge. And it's definitely a challenge to get your standards to connect, because you have a lot of things going on in your mind when you're planning this way. But it's much easier when you have your standards written out. You know exactly what you want to do. Like Danielle said, you start with that compelling question and brainstorm all those supporting questions you think may align. And then we start looking for the resources to support those questions and that work. We're going to continue to work on increasing our interdisciplinary connections. Danielle mentioned math is hard to connect. That has really been the greatest subject area that's been a challenge for us. But you can imagine PE doesn't always connect to every single supporting question. Generally, writing, anything literacy-based, writing and reading, we can connect to anything. But some of the other areas are harder, so it takes a lot of brainstorming. And we want to continue to get better with that. And we also want to keep working on creating meaningful summative tasks. The thing fourth grade's doing with the Fraser Museum is very meaningful. They're living through this right now, and they can be able to showcase their work publicly and have some voice and choice in the way they do that. So we want to keep creating activities that have voice and choice for our students. And right now we're starting to lean into a little bit, how do we create a rubric that really gives us what we're looking for and guides the students' work? And then how do we make sure we're giving good quality feedback? Because we know feedback is what moves students. They need critical feedback. So we're keeping on in that process to move in that direction. And then we're wanting to find through NTI just better ways to help students showcase their learning with each other. So we have a lot of students that jump in on teachers' office hours and they want to come and share their work there, but how can we make it bigger? So we keep brainstorming and thinking of ways to do that. And so really thinking ahead, I really want you to hear from Danielle and Olivia how we think this type of planning is going to influence teaching and learning in the future. So, ladies, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah. So we have kind of talked about this together. We talked about using this in workshop to tie not only subjects together, but also teachers. We've worked really hard with special area teachers through this NTI process. And, if we were to work with special area teachers once we get back into the classroom to make sure that we're still continuing to work together and there's no disconnect, I can see where that would really help our kiddos. We also talked about in kindergarten, tying these into workshop and having things like shaded boxes or things to help kiddos decide things that they must do and things that they may do to kind of guide them, but help them support their learning. And we've also talked about how this can help with backpack artifacts too, in ways that students can really put lots of work and things in their backpack for that as well. Danielle, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I really wanted to emphasize Olivia's comment about special area and incorporating everything together, especially I know in the intermediate grades where I am currently, time is precious. Time is precious anywhere in school, but when we're sitting there with all of these loaded standards, and we're thinking, okay, how do I fit in science and social studies and writing and get everything going? These choice boards are the answer. I'm thinking when we go back to the traditional classroom, how great would this be to have this in front of your students and them seeing how all the subjects tie together throughout the entire day and workshop, no matter if they're in reading, math, science, wherever they are, they're working on something for this choice board and seeing how all of these contents tie together. It's not a separate reading block, a separate math block. We're really maximizing our time by being able to do that. And we're also allowing special area to feel connected with our classrooms and our students to be able to dive a little bit deeper into these topics.
I agree with both of them. Also, in considering how hard it is in elementary to really have a big block of time to focus to content. We know that's a big challenge for us in the elementary grades, especially in primary. So look at the opportunity we're giving our kids to have rich access to content across the board, where they can focus on things that interest them and dig deeper in the learning and come up with brilliant ways of showcasing their learning, opportunities that we haven't really provided them before. So now they're going to be used to this because we've been doing this work during NTI. So next year just really opens the door to lots of possibilities. What I'm seeing as a coach through this work is that our teachers are really learning how to plan more rigorous activities. We're not doing simple recall and understanding. They're really amping up levels of Bloom's using this choice board and creating activities that ask our students to evaluate and create. So I really love the ideas that they have about bringing this work into workshop next year. And including content across all the disciplines. We did last year really try to tackle project-based learning, and the hardest part is getting together with all of the team, all of the special area teachers, and everyone who can have input to help strengthen those projects. And what we have found through creating choice boards is that it just lends a perfect way for everyone to plan together. So even if our special area teachers cannot join PLC, because it's too much to ask that they join 6 or 7 PLCs every week, they can quickly go to the choice board, see the compelling question, see what supporting question might be helpful for them to create a task for the students and work on that board while they're not with us. And it still all goes toward the same message. And we really like the choice boards for that reason as well. So that's all we actually have for you today. So we thank you for joining us. You can reach out. Of course, we're on JCPS email, so feel free to email any of us if you have questions about this. And I really, really advise, if you're interested in doing this, to catch Ryan and Suzanne's PD today or tomorrow at 12:30. They go in depth about the research and the why and the how for using compelling questions to drive instruction. So thank you so much.